Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be on the continent. I'm Dr. Musiba Adetuji Babatunde. I'm the course director for the course on domestic resource mobilization in Africa. You are welcome to this course, and I'll be the course director. This is basically with the support from colleagues from IDEP in Dakar, Senegal. The course is basically trying to look at how Africa can actually get more resources mobilized for structural transformation of the continent. As a framework, we are going to be going through different modules, and in all, we are going to be discussing six modules of the course on domestic resource mobilization. And the first is introduction of the course, introduction to the course, which is going to tell us the importance and benefits of domestic resource mobilization. Why do we need to mobilize resources in Africa, as well as the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on domestic resource mobilization in Africa, the challenge, the opportunities offered by sustainable development goals, and also the investment model that can actually be used to achieve structural transformation of the African continent is also part of it. Also, in module two of the course, you are going to discuss the sources as well as the potentials of domestic resource mobilization in Africa. Across the global perspective, the Africa actual continent has a big role in terms of the potential that can actually be leveraged on in terms of getting domestic resources. And for this particular opportunity, we try to break them down and try to look at the potentials that they offer from tax, from pension bond, from infrastructure bond, from sovereign wealth fund. We're going to be taking a look at what potentials that Africa can actually get from this. Then in module three, it constraints to domestic resource mobilization are actually discussed. What are the set of constraints? We have different kind of economic constraints, institutional constraints, political constraints, and even social constraints to mobilizing domestic resources in Africa. So these are going to be highlighted and enumerated one after the other for us to be able to move forward. Then in module four, you have the institutional arrangements that have been put in place to mobilize domestic resources in Africa. These are going to be discussed one after the other. They are going to be evaluated. What are the challenges that this institution is actually facing, from the central bank to the deposit money banks, the non-bank financial institutions, as well as the revenue collection agencies? What are the kind of challenges that they're facing, and how can they actually harmonize their activities together in order to deliver effective domestic resource mobilization in Africa? Then in module five, we are going to discuss the illicit financial flows. What are the causes? What are the effects? And what are the various solutions that we can actually leverage on with respect to managing illicit financial flows in Africa? Then in module six, we try to look at the strategies and policies that can actually be used to manage domestic resource mobilization, given the current uncertainty measures that we're actually facing with respect to COVID-19 in Africa. We try to break this down into political strategies, economic strategies, institutional strategies that can actually be used to mobilize domestic resources in Africa. Also, in addition, we try to look at early warning signals that we can actually take into consideration, given the fact that the COVID-19 pandemic in Africa is an exogenous shock that is actually affecting the continent, from the demand and the supply shocks are part of the continent. So it is the whole framework that is actually taken into consideration in terms of the strategies and policies that can actually be used to measure that. So these are the set of activities that we will be discussing in the next 6 to 8 weeks, and I believe that we are going to have a lot to learn from each other with respect to this particular course. At the beginning, you have the course materials that have actually been shared, and IDEP we'll be getting across, the technical colleagues in IDEP, we getting across to each and every one of us. One of them is the fundamental aspect of the PowerPoint presentation. You have it available. The Microsoft Word presentation for each of the modules, which is also in detail, much more detailed than the PowerPoint presentation. And also, you have multiple choice questions that you'll be used to evaluate your performance in the course. And in the Microsoft Word document, the learning outcomes, the learning objectives, and the contents of the module are all highlighted. And at the beginning of each of the section, you have a motivating question, and you also have the discussion question at the end of each of the sections within each of the modules, and also case study questions. I believe that we are going to have a lot to learn together, and going through all this will shape and provide us with a view on how to transmit this set of ideas into our own countries, and use those set of innovative ideas to manage the existing situation, and also generate impact on a very positive impact on mobilizing domestic resources for our different home countries now and in the foreseeable future. Thank you very much. Once again, I'm your course director, and I'll be getting across to you as time goes on in terms of getting your perspective, answering your questions, and making contribution, and also giving you assignments that will be done and then will be submitted to the platform. I believe it's an holistic framework for us to learn about domestic resource mobilization that can actually be channeled into the structural transformation of the African continent. Thank you, everyone. Merci beaucoup. Thank you.